Hello and welcome to the next video in our series, A Journey Through the Map of Runterra. At this point, we've gone through the jungles of Ixtal, over the deserts of Shurima, climbed to the peaks of Targon, set sail to the port city of Bilgewater, and passed through the fog of the Shadow Isles. Now let's head a little farther north, to Ionia. Ionia is located here at the top right of the map. Surrounded by treacherous seas, Ionia is composed of a number of allied provinces scattered across a massive archipelago, known to many as the First Lands. Since Ionian culture has long been shaped by the pursuit of balance in all things, the border between the material and spirit realms tends to be more permeable here, especially in the wild forests and mountains. Although these lands' enchantments can be fickle, its creatures dangerous and fey, for many centuries most Ionian led lives of plenty. The warrior monasteries, provincial militias, and even Ionia itself had been enough to protect them. But that ended 12 years ago when Noxus attacked the First Lands. The Empire's seemingly endless war hosts savaged Ionia, and were only defeated after many years and at great cost. Now, Ionia exists in an uneasy peace. Different reactions to the war have divided the region. Some groups, such as the Shojin monks or the Kinku, seek to return to isolationist pacifism and pastoral traditions. Other more radical factions, such as the Navori Brotherhood and the Order of Shadow, demand a militarization of the land's magic to create a single, unified nation that can take vengeance on Noxus. The fate of Ionia hangs in a delicate balance that few are willing to overturn, but all can feel shifting uneasily beneath their feet. Now we will look at the champions of Ionia, those you might find should you journey there. Keep in mind, we're only going to touch briefly on each of these champions, as this video is focused mostly on the zone. We'll have videos covering each of these champions later on. Ahri, the nine-tailed fox. Innately connected to the magic of the spirit realm, Ahri is a mysterious fox-like Vastaya in search of her place in the world. Having become a somewhat reluctant and empathetic predator since entering mortal society, she prefers to manipulate her prey's emotions before partaking of their life essence, receiving flashes of memory and insight from each soul she consumes. Akali, the rogue assassin. Abandoning the Kinku order and her title of the Fist of Shadow, Akali now strikes alone, ready to be the deadly weapon her people need. Though she holds on to all she learned from her master, Shen, she has pledged to defend Ionia from its enemies, one kill at a time. Akali may strike in silence, but her message will be heard loud and clear. Fear the assassin with no master. Shen, the Eye of Twilight. Among the secretive Ionian warriors known as the Kinku, Shen serves as their leader, the Eye of Twilight. He longs to remain free from the confusion of emotion, prejudice, and ego, and walks the unseen path of dispassionate judgment between the spirit realm and the physical world. Tasked with enforcing the equilibrium between them, Shen wields blades of steel and arcane energy against any who would threaten it. Aurelia, the Blade Dancer. The Noxian occupation of Ionia produced many heroes, none more unlikely than young Aurelia of Navori. Trained in the ancient dances of her province, she adapted her art of war, using the graceful and carefully practiced movements to levitate a host of deadly blades. After proving herself as a fighter, she was thrust into the role of resistance leader and figurehead, and to this day remains dedicated to the preservation of her homeland. Ivern, the Green Father, known to many as Bramblefoot or the Old Woodsman, is a peculiar half-man, half-tree who roams the wilds of Runterra, cultivating life everywhere he goes. He knows all the secret of the natural world and holds deep friendship with things that grow, fly, and scuttle. Ivern enriches the forest, imparts strange wisdom to any mortal he meets, and occasionally entrusts loose-lipped butterflies with his secrets. Jin, the Virtuoso. Jin is a meticulous criminal psychopath who believes murder is art. Once an Ionian prisoner but freed by shadowy elements within Ionian ruling council, the serial killer now works as their Cabal's assassin. Using his gun as his paintbrush, Jin creates works of artistic brutality, horrifying victims and onlookers. He gains a cruel pleasure from putting on his gruesome theater, making him the ideal choice to send the most powerful of messages. Terror. Karma, the Enlightened One. No mortal exemplifies the spiritual traditions of Ionia more than Karma. She is the living embodiment of an ancient soul reincarnated countless times, carrying all her accumulated memories into each new life, and blessed with power that few can comprehend. She has done her best to guide her people in recent times of crisis, though she knows that peace and harmony may come only at a considerable cost, both to her and to the land she holds most dear. Kane, the Shadow Reaper. A peerless practitioner of lethal shadow magic, Shida Kane battles to achieve his true destiny, to one day lead the Order of Shadow into a new era of Ionian supremacy. He wields the sentient, darkened weapon Rahast, undeterred by its creeping corruption of his body and mind. There are only two possible outcomes. Either Kane bends his weapon to his will, or the malevolent blade consumes him completely, paving the way for the destruction of all Runterra. Kenen, the Heart of the Tempest. The longest-standing member of the ancient Kinku Order, the Yordle Kenen is the first and only Heart of the Tempest. For centuries, he has used diplomacy and force to maintain the sacred balance in his adopted home of Ionia. Lightning fast and bearing the wisdom of a long and storied life, Kenen works with the Eye of Twilight, Shen, to protect the fragile harmony of the First Lands with a whirling storm of shuriken and devastating electrical energy. Clayson, the Blind Monk. A master of Ionia's ancient martial arts, Clayson is a principled fighter who channels the essence of the dragon spirit to face any challenge. Though he lost his sight many years ago, the warrior monk has devoted his life to protecting his homeland against any who would dare upset its sacred balance. Enemies who underestimate his meditative demeanor will endure his fabled burning fists and blazing roundhouse kicks. Lilia, the Bashful Bloom. Intensely shy, the fey fawn Lilia skittishly wanders Ionia's forests, hiding just out of sight of mortals whose mysterious natures have long captivated but intimidated her. Lilia hopes to discover why their dreams no longer reach the ancient dreaming tree. She now travels Ionia with a magical branch in hand in an effort to find people's unrealized dreams. Only then can Lilia herself bloom and help others untangle their fears to find the sparkle within. Master Yi, the Wuzhu Bladesman. Master Yi has tempered his body and sharpened his mind so that thought and action have become almost as one. Though he chooses to enter into violence only as a last resort, the grace and speed of his blade ensures resolution is always swift. As one of the last living practitioners of the Ionian art of Wuzhu, Yi has devoted his life to continuing the legacy of his people, scrutinizing potential new disciples with the 7 lenses of insight to identify the most worthy among them. Wukong, the Monkey King. Wukong is a Vastayan trickster who uses his strength, agility, and intelligence to confuse his opponents and gain the upper hand. After finding a lifelong friend in the warrior known as Master Yi, Wukong became the last student of the ancient martial art known as Wuzhu. Armed with an enchanted staff, Wukong seeks to prevent Ionia from falling to ruin. Bakan, the Charmer. As merciful as he is charming, Bakan is an infamous Vastayan troublemaker and the greatest battle dancer of Lotland tribal history. To the humans of Ionian highlands, his name has long been synonymous with wild festivals, uncontrollable parties, and anarchic music. But this energetic traveling showman has left his old life behind, dedicating himself to the cause of his lover, the rebel Xayah. Together they seek to free Ionia's wild magic, restoring the Vastayan birthright. Xayah, the rebel. Deadly and precise, Xayah is a Vastayan revolutionary waging a personal war to save her people. She uses her speed, guile, and razor-sharp feather blades to cut down anyone who stands in her way. Xayah fights alongside her partner and lover, Bakan, to protect their dwindling tribe and restore their race to her version of its former glory. Set, the Boss. A leader of Ionia's growing criminal underworld, Set rose to prominence in the wake of the war with Noxus. Though he began as a humble challenger in the fighting pits of Navori, he quickly gained notoriety for his savage strength and his ability to take seemingly endless amounts of punishment. Now, having climbed through the ranks of local combatants, Set has muscled to the top, reigning over the pits he once fought in. Syndra, the Dark Sovereign. Syndra is a fearsome Ionian mage with incredible power at her command. As a child, she disturbed the village elders with her reckless and wild magic. She was sent away to be taught greater control, but eventually discovered her supposed mentor was restraining her abilities. Forming her feelings of betrayal and hurt with the dark spheres of energy, Syndra has sworn to destroy all who would try to control her. Varus, the Arrow of Retribution. One of the ancient Darkin, Varus was a deadly killer who loved to torment his foes, driving them almost to insanity before delivering the killing arrow. He was imprisoned at the end of the Great Darkin War, but escaped centuries later in the remade flesh of two Ionian hunters. They had unwittingly released him, cursed to bear the bow containing his bound essence. Varus now seeks out those who trapped him in order to enact his brutal vengeance, but the mortal souls within still resist him every step of the way. Yasuo, the Unforgiven. An Ionian of deep resolve, Yasuo is an agile swordsman who wields the air itself against his enemies. As a proud young man, he was falsely accused of murdering his master. Unable to prove his innocence, he was forced to slay his own brother in self-defense. In time, his master's true killer was revealed, and his brother mysteriously returned from death. Yet Yasuo still could not forgive himself for all he had done. Now he wanders the world with only the wind to guide his blade. Yon, the Unforgotten. In life he was Yon, half-brother of Yasuo, and renowned student of his village's sword school. But upon his death at the hands of his brother, he found himself haunted by a malevolent entity of the spirit realm and was forced to slay it with its own sword. Now, cursed to wear its demonic mask upon his face, Yon tirelessly hunts all such creatures in order to understand what he has become. Zed, the Master of Shadows. Utterly ruthless and without mercy, Zed is the leader of the Order of Shadow, an organization he created with the intent of militarizing Ionia's magical and martial traditions to drive out Noxian invaders. During the war, desperation led him to unlock the secret shadow form, a malevolent spirit magic as dangerous and corrupting as it is powerful. Zed has mastered all of these forbidden techniques to destroy anything he sees as a threat to his nation or his new order. So a pretty long list of champions for Ionia, and there's a lot of story here, and we're definitely going to come back to Ionia in future videos, exploring a lot of related stories to each of the champions. But for now, let's get back to focusing on the zone itself and see what life in Ionia is like. Magic suffuses every part of Ionia, its people, its history, and most of all, the land itself. All aspects of life there hang in a balance, with still so much left to be discovered and explored. Those who call the vast continent home strive to find harmony among the diverse races and habitats, far older than most others on Runterra. The people of Ionia's many provinces have always seen themselves as part of the natural world and adapted their ways to live alongside all manner of fantastical flora and fauna. To outsiders, such a close relationship may appear strange, but it is through this interdependence that both the land and its inhabitants have thrived for countless generations. It is certain Ionia has a much longer and richer history than any living soul could claim to know. Indeed, in the more remote mountain passes, the landscape is still littered with evidence of great wars from ages past. But instead of clearing the ruins, the Ionians choose to respect what remains, even if they no longer fully understand what it represents. Though the birthplace of many specialized forms of martial arts, Ionia maintains no standing armies. Rather, the ways of battle are tied to differing philosophies, passed on with reverence and care. In the northeastern mountains, the monastery of Harana has long been a sanctuary for those seeking to better understand their connection to the spirit realm. Ionian architecture is characterized by a sense of natural flow and grace, aspiring to reflect the ethereal beauty of the land. Grand open spaces ensure that one is never fully divorced from what organically existed there before. Situated at the heart of the continent, the Placedium is one of Ionia's most sacred places. Many have journeyed here to study at renowned schools or meditate in its wild magical gardens. Undoubtedly, this was why it became such a tempting target for the invading armies of Noxus. It was at the Placedium that the people of Ionia finally took up arms against their Noxian enemies, but the cost of that day's victory was immense, and some now question if fighting back was the right decision, since the harmonious balance of their homeland may have been lost forever. This image shows what an interior of a home might look like in Ionia, as well as some of their cliffside temples, and finally a village market. And you can see from all of these images that the Ionian people really build around nature rather than through it or over it. Here are some locations of note in Ionia. These are the rainbowed canyons of Shi, the Luyan Khan, a coastal region in Ionia. Here we can see an Ionian farm. I like this image because it really shows just how unique the flora is. Here's a forest market, a dragon's nest, a lake of lighted lilies, And this image even shows how Ionians go about building a home. You could see from the first image that the trees are already in place in a way that's suitable for a home, and the trees in the middle are used as support structures. You can compare this with somewhere else where someone might cut down those trees to build the home in that location. Now we know the land of Ionia, let's look at some of its people. The Kinku are the self-appointed keepers of Ionia's sacred balance. Their acolytes walk both Runterra and the spirit realm, meditating conflicts between them, and when necessary, intervening by force. During the war with Noxus, the Kinku order was ousted from its ancient temple by the followers of Zed, himself a former acolyte. And then these two images are of merchants that you might find in Ionia. The one on the left is a fruit merchant, and the one on the right is an item merchant. Comparing the two, you can really see the rich diversity in Ionia. And so that's it for Ionia. Honestly, Ionia is my favorite zone out of any zone in Runeterra. This is the one that I want to explore the most. I'm most excited to really go into the related stories here with you guys in future videos. Explore the champions way more. I want to explore the relationship between Yasuo and Yon, the relationship between Shen and Zed. I've always been into like the nature stuff, so as long as it's like a naturey zone, that's where I want to be. A cool zone. I'm super excited to explore more about it with you guys. And if you have a recommendation for the next zone we should explore in Runeterra, let me know in the comment section below. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.